Hello guys, so here is our project presentation. So Jami is the software for communication with respect to the freedoms and privacy of its users, and it provides a communication framework between users and an end users application for making video calls, texting messages, transferring documents. The presentation will introduce the conceptual and concrete architectures of the Jami software and the new features that our group want to add to the Jami. For the conceptual architectures of Jami, the Jami mainly consists of 5 main parts. They are OpenDHT, name server, daemon, client frontend, and dbus. OpenDHT is a library that provides a distributed network for the systems and allows two different devices to find each other and establish a connection on the internet without knowing the IP address in advance. Provides support for Jami to realize point-to-point real-time communication. And the name server manages the corresponding username and ring ID for each Jami user. Daemon is the subsystem manages the meeting video calls, call actions, the configuration of the user system, and text file transfer. It is the core handler of the Jami. Client frontend controls the outlook of the Jami platform and how the system responds when the user actions on the app. Dbus is the controller of the message bus between client and daemon. It provides one-to-one communication between two applications. And the interaction, so for the architecture styles of Jami is peer-to-peer. It does not contain central server. The LRC is the connector between the daemon and the frontend since they cannot directly interact. Dbus is at top of LRC to manage all the messages. And when the client sends a command to LRC and then transfer to daemon to process, the client will see the result via frontend after that process is done. The OpenDHT library provides the basic distributed network for finding peers, and daemon contains the functions of making video call, send messages or files. Hence, the OpenDHT interact with the daemon.
Concrete architecture of Jami. There are 9 components in Jami: plugins, LRC, install, daemon, and 5 other client components, which is client macOS, client GNOME, client UWP, client Qt, and client iOS. Demo component is the most important part in Jami because every other 8 components will depend on demo. Plugins and client iOS depends only on demo. LRC and install components are another library that almost every client depends on. And install and LRC depends on each other. Client UWP is another special one because that's the only components that the daemon core has dependence on.
The plugin subsystem now consists of 6 parts: audio filter, auto answer, green screen, hello world, SDK, and TensorFlow segmentation. Each of them is an independent part and responses for one or more features in video or voice chatting in daemon. As the second diagram shown, all the red lines represent the unexpected dependencies. Plugin is an entity only interacts with daemon. There are 42 dependencies in a single direction from plugins to daemon. And as the diagram shown, the 3 directories on the left and the 3 on the right all have different number of dependencies from themselves to the library folder, which stores all related work frames of plugins. The lib makes call for all other functions in plugins for interactions. Those will only make effects to Jami calls. And in daemon, the Jami plugin manager controls all installing, loading, and editing of plugin usage. Plugins interacts with calls in the forth of Jami, and the result of interaction could be seen during the call.
Since Jami is a communication software that supports video conference and voice chat, our new proposed feature is actually a new plugin in the Jami's plugins subsystem, which is called the real-time speech recognition and translation. So the plugin contains 2 parts. The first part is to recognize the speech, and then the second part is do the translation. So I will briefly introduce the first part as well as the alternative architecture, and my teammates will introduce the second part. So the plugin supports real-time speech recognition for generating transcript of a particular voice or video conference. The plugin will automatically recognize what the user says during a call and record as text. So if the plugin was enabled, what I say in the past 1 minute or so will automatically recorded in the text file. So the user can download the transcript afterwards. So this plugin will also use the speech to text technique and supports with multiple input languages. So the user can speak English, Chinese, Japanese, French, Spanish, etc. So this technique will be based on deep learning model via TensorFlow API through C++ or Python, just similar to the green screen function in the existing plugins. As for the alternative architecture, we can use the client and server architecture style, but in the latest version of Jami, Jami prefer to use peer-to-peer or model view controller instead of the client and server. So the client and server architectural style was rejected.
We believe it would be helpful if we add a new feature that can translate the recognized speech to other languages that the user desired. Such feature will benefit users doing international calls that the user could see the translation of their conversation even if they are using different languages. Just like the previous one, the translation feature will be also based on the plugin subsystem and depends on the daemon subsystem. It will also interact with voice call function and our new speech recognition plugin to get the text input. Also, the translation functionality will be based on existing open source translation applications, since it will be too hard for us to train a translator from scratch. And this is everything we want to share today. Thank you for watching.